Alright, so this movie, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, I've had this movie for a couple years. It came out back in 2022. I've had it since 2023, but I never got around to watching it. I never got to see this movie, and I now have seen it, so I want to drop my review on it because I find it interesting. So this is my review for the 2022 Weird Al. I guess you can call it a biopic. I'll get into what I mean by I guess, because it's not that clear. This movie was something, let me tell you. So first of all, I want to say that I've been a Weird Al fan since I can remember. I mean, as a kid, Eat It, Fat, like these songs were, all over television, all over VH1. Weird Al was a safe act to get into because his music obviously parodied other music, but his sense of humor was always pretty clean. He had some sexual innuendo from time to time, but it never got too raunchy. And in some ways, what Weird Al did was genius, to the point where I remember when I was in high school, I did my own version of what Weird Al did. I did my own song parodies for fun. I can remember one. There was a song by the Hot Boys called I Need a Hot Girl, right? This was a big song, especially in the South, back in like 99, 2000. I made my own version called I Need a Hot Dog. So I was doing what Weird Al was doing, and I know I wasn't the only one. The dude was a major influence. So when I found out he had a biopic, and more interesting than just that, Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter himself, plays Al Yankovic, this has to be great. I went into the movie not really knowing much, but expecting it to be kind of like, other biopics that had come out recently. I think the most notable, I think the one that really had the most impact was Bohemian Rhapsody, because of how much praise that movie got. This film is not Bohemian Rhapsody. I don't know what to make of this movie. So this movie is both a biopic and a parody of other biopics where it goes in a completely fictional direction. So if you're familiar with Weird Al's life and you're expecting this movie to be a summary of his life, boy, do you have another thing coming. There are elements of things in his life here. His parents, which are insanely over the top in this movie. It goes into some of his early parodies like My Bologna, another one, Rides the Bus, and I Love Rocky Road. It's got like his connection with Dr. Demento. All these things really happened for the most part. But then it goes down this I don't even know what to think. So this is not just a biopic. This is a biopic comedy that parodies other biopics. And Weird Al's one of the co-writers on it. You're not going to get his true life story here. You're going to get a movie that's meant to make you laugh and entertain and comes off more like UHF, which is Weird Al's older movie that he put out ages ago, compared to Bohemian Rhapsody. For example, in this story, Madonna, comes to Weird Al because she thinks that if he does a parody of her song Like a Virgin, it'll make her career, blossom. Even though if you understand history, you know that Madonna was literally like the female Michael Jackson of the 80s. Her music was everywhere. Probably the most successful female act for a big run there. She didn't need Weird Al, even though Weird Al's parodies did help some artists, for sure. There's no arguing that. And many thought it was an honor that he would parody their music. This version of the story has Madonna falling in love with Weird Al, and they have this relationship that leads to Madonna getting kidnapped by Pablo Escobar and taken to Venezuela because Pablo Escobar is a hardcore fan of Weird Al. And Weird Al has to become an action hero to go down there to save her. That's what you're getting in this movie. Like, you're not going to get a serious biopic. But also, Weird Al's life was never all that serious. I think the closest that you could possibly come would be if you can find the old Behind the Music documentary on Weird Al. I used to love that documentary. I actually recorded it on tape. Behind the Music on VH1 was like an amazing show. Even to this day, I have memories. But that I think is a much more accurate, like if you really want to know about the life of Weird Al, I think that's better. But Weird Al himself says that he had a pretty tame life compared to other musicians. He was never a drug addict. He never had a harem of women. He wasn't involved in some crazy crime. To make a true, like, interesting story out of it. You know what I mean? And I think that's why this movie exists the way that it does. Because Al probably feels like his actual life is too boring to make into a biopic. So they had to spice it up. That's my guess. I don't think Weird Al's life is all that boring. And I think the elements of the real life of Al Yankovic in this movie are great. Like, I enjoyed seeing them, but as the film progresses, it goes more and more insane, and the fingerprints of Weird Al's, I guess you can say, his comedic fingerprints are all over this movie. All over it. Also, even though Daniel Radcliffe plays Al Yankovic, whenever they have one of the songs, it's the real Weird Al. Whether it be him performing it live or him coming up with the lyrics, like, it's the real Weird Al who's doing it. It's not Daniel Radcliffe doing an imitation of Weird Al. Not for the singing parts, at least. And I actually, it put a smile on my face to learn that this movie won an Emmy, because it was a TV movie. This thing won an Emmy. Like, it wasn't even like a theatrical film. But look, if you're a fan of Weird Al, if you like satire, if you like his sense of humor, and you want to have a good time with a biopic that just twists everything, I like what they did here. And I worry that in this review, I may have ruined it for some people, because when you first start seeing how outlandish the movie is, you're kind of like, I was kind of confused because I didn't know what they were going to do with it. But then, like, by the end, I got the joke. Actually, I got the joke about halfway, but by the end, I realized, no, this is not really a biopic. This is a comedy. It's a satire. And, but I mean, it's a satire dressed like a biopic. So, but I didn't want to, I hopefully didn't ruin that for people, because I will say that was part of the fun. The good thing is the movie's not all that long, so you're not going to be, in this universe all that long. But I do want to give credit to, for sure, Daniel Radcliffe and Evan Rachel Wood, who plays Madonna. She's also in The Wrestler. I remember she played Randy the Ram's daughter in that movie, and she's great as Madonna in this movie, so I want to give her a lot of credit. Anyways, what did you think? If you saw it, let me know. And random review today, but I don't know, I just saw it and I enjoyed it, so there you go. It's a movie review. Take care.